it's BG here, and today we're back with another My Hero Academia versus battle. And as always, we have a special guest with us. Introduce yourself.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Mr. Ninja Star, and I'm happy to make my return on BG's channel, where today we're going to be doing a My Hero Academia versus battle. Should be fun.
I agree. I agree. So the topic today is of the number one student of Class 1A, Katsuki, and Shoto Todoroki, the golden boy of the class, you could say. So, I mean, you would think that this would be a video that everyone's had out, but I haven't seen it around much. But it's such a big shock to me because that's actually a quite hotly debated topic from what I've seen. Would you agree, Ninja?
Yeah, no, because like when I was looking into it myself and doing some research, people are actually like really divided. Even like the poll I put out on Twitter, Todoroki won by like a decent amount, but I mean even then there were good claims on both sides of the argument, and for a while they were pretty close and tied and all that.
Hmm. I see. I see. That's down to the same with me when I went on the forums. It was more of a back and forth when I first started reading, but as you go further down the thread, it goes strictly in Todoroki's favor. Now, today we're going to discuss if that's actually going to be the case. So, so I'm going to be, and I'm just going to flat out say it. I'm going to say it's Todoroki who would win this. What about you, Ninja?
See, I was like really going back and forth for a while, but I think I've come to the conclusion that Bakugou would most likely win. Like even putting personal bias aside, Todoroki's BG's favorite character, Bakugou's my favorite character. Even putting that aside, I think both of us have our like good enough points to support why, you know, character A would win over character B or vice versa.
Correct, correct, correct. So, I, I mean, like most of the time, I hear people bring up the fact of, well, Bakugo is a better fighter. He's very versatile and all that. Well, the thing is, with at least in my opinion, from what I've seen, Todoroki's also versatile. He also has the ice, the fire. The ice is good for movement and also defense, while the flames are a very good offense for him. And with Bakugo, well, it's good. But the thing is, he has to be very most of the time he has to be very close for his attacks to really be optimal. Outside of his armor piercing shot, of course, but we haven't actually seen that in usage in an actual fight, so we're not sure yet how that actually works.
That's true. I mean, then again, like Bakugo, it's never been. He's definitely like more excelling in close combat. Like if you even look at the Deku fight, he's very strategic and very adept to, I guess, using just his hands or his legs or whatever. And also those explosions at close range can be very deadly. So I guess the argument can be made of a long range would be more effective if you have someone like Todoroki. But if you revisit the Todoroki and Bakugo fight, and I don't want to cite on that too much because I understand like Todoroki's mindset was a lot different. And I'm gonna play devil's advocate right here and say, like, I remember you said this, BG. The way Horikoshi was writing it, he intended Todoroki to win. But then Bakugo, like, I think you could elaborate on it a bit more.
Well, the statement that Ninja is talking about here is that in the original draft of the sports festival fight between Bakugo and Todoroki, it went like Todoroki was the winner at the end of the day, but um, what is it? Horikoshi believed that it would be rather unrealistic for Todoroki to be able to get over his trauma and his issues that quickly.
Right,
So he
right,
believed,
yeah.
so he had him just lose confidence in himself and drop the fight.
Mhm. But like from me, the way I saw it, it was mostly towards like the middle half or like the second half where Todoroki was beginning to get a bit was reflecting and then begin to realize like this isn't worth it. Whereas I saw in the first half he was taking it like moderately, and even then Bakugo was much more dead set on winning and how he was able to get up close by using his explosions. Like I've seen some people bring up the argument that because like Bakugo is the whole explosion power up is based off of sweat. So if it's not like a warm environment, or Todoroki's, let's say, not using his fire, he can't sweat in ice, can he? Well, if you actually revisit that fight, Bakugo seemed to be doing just fine without that warm, without even stuff like fire. He was completely surrounded by ice, but was still able to make his way to close combat with Todoroki. And while Todoroki did outsmart him within that one moment, I think overall Bakugo could probably just find a way to really overcome Todoroki. Also, considering he wasn't even in the sports festival, he wasn't even wearing his hero costume. His hero costume makes him much more adept for sweating, so I think that could give him an advantage of getting close range. Because if he, I don't know if BG is gonna throw a clip or image or whatever on the screen, but he seemed to be swooping by just fine, and be able to get close combat and all that. I'm sure he could get around it. Even so, with the fire, I feel Bakugo is precise enough not to, get burned alive. I feel if he dodges that, that only adds more to his sweat and all that. Yeah, that's just, I guess, my starting argument. You could say.
Well, with me, the thing I would say is the fact that with Todoroki, um, the thing of it is like when you look at both of their stats, they both have like similar amounts of intelligence, so they're both very adept at fighting and very skilled. Because the thing is, Bakugo is prodigious, while with Todoroki, he's been not only is he prodigious, but he's been training since he was very young, in very intense and grueling training, at least with his ice. So I mean, both people would say he just because I'd say that if he's able to freeze Bakugo, there's no way it's over at that point because we've seen that before during the sports festival as well when he froze him during the thing. He couldn't just blow up the ice because it would mess up his leg.
Hmm.
So the thing is, he was in a very what is it tragic position to where he's pretty much screwed during that fight. So it's like honestly, the main thing he has to what Todoroki would need to do is isolate him to the ground, catch him off guard, and freeze him. And if he couldn't do that, he just has to get him in midair. And a lot of people would say that he could just maneuver, but it's like it does take a little bit more for him to maneuver very quickly. He's not a very quick was it he can't really shift very quickly in the air. Bakugo from what I've seen.
Bakugo. It's in. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go
Well,
ahead.
no, no. What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say, like, from what we saw of him, if anything, he seems a lot more versatile in the air than someone like, say, Todoroki. Granted, it does kind of depend on the environment. If there's, like, let's say, they're fighting in like an actual like tournament area, that's obviously better for someone like Todoroki because he doesn't have to worry about as many obstacles. But I feel like if you're in like a building area or like a city, granted it's always going to depend, but I think Bakugo can get around with how high he's able to propel himself in the air, whereas Todoroki kind of has to rely on that ice. He's not like Endeavor, where Endeavor can prevent himself from falling. I don't know if that same logic can be applied to Todoroki, where he can prevent himself from falling just by the fire. But I mean, the ice can only do so much since he's basically just riding it, whereas Bakugo can actually like propel himself
Oh
in
no,
the air.
oh no, no. I would definitely believe that Bakugo was more. It has more like movement in the air than Todoroki does. It's just more like in the terms of his flames. I don't believe he'd be able to shift positions quick enough to move away from his flames
Yeah,
because his flames are quite his flames are quite wide and have a lot of and cover a lot of ground.
that is true, but I mean, even so, with if he's able to, yeah, I understand your point, but I feel this is obviously this might be pushing it just a bit, but I think Bakugo could outsmart it to where he propels himself in the air, since the flames would mostly be covering the ground, and finds a way to get back down or something along those lines using the environment. Because obviously Todoroki did definitely have the advantage as far as areas are concerned. Yeah, it could. It's a bit tough to say because it's also like his fire isn't. Cause like, how long has it been since the sports festival? Like BG, like as of this moment right now in the current arc.
It's been some months.
Yeah, so I mean, there's also like the hero license exam and all that, like all this training stuff.
Well,
Well, yeah, I'm sure his fire is definitely a lot stronger than it was before, but it's clear he definitely has more control over his ice, and I feel given his fire and like I'm would he use if he used his ice too much of an excessive amount? You know, he might get frostbite or something along those lines. BG, like there's like a little cooldown or something like that between how much you can use his ice. It's not like infinite or something. Like, is it something like that, BG, or am I off?
If he uses it too much, he'll start freezing over. So that's why he has to use his flame side to regulate the ice.
Yeah, that's true. So he would constantly have to worry about the issue of balancing. Whereas I feel with Bakugo, you could bring up the argument like he has to constantly sweat, but if he's in his hero costume and how he's able to regulate himself, because like even though he was in the he was surrounded by ice in the sports festival, like completely surrounded by ice, he was able to get around even by using his explosion. Those explosions are directly coming from his sweat, so I feel he's still able to regulate himself well enough. It's kind of my point.
Well, the thing is, at least from what I've seen from the license exam, I remember that there was that talk about them trying to be able to figure out how to, at least in Todoroki's case, to be able to use both his ice and fire at the same time. And from the little shot we have of the progression of everyone's progression, we see that he's finally getting to that level of skill. So now, but at the same time, though, I could use the same argument for Bakugo's armor piercing shot that I used for that one. That we don't actually know how useful that is or how adept he is at using it yet. So
Right, right.
I can't actually speak too much on that. But I'd say, in a hypothetical, with both of those, with being able to use both of those at the same time, I'd say that would probably give him a very good advantage because it gives him the ability to control the terrain plus being able to attack. So let's say there's a scenario where if he threw up the ice and Bakugo just instinctively blows it back, as he's in the motion of blowing away his ice, Todoroki can easily just blast him with his flames at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So that it's a good thing of just with the ability to use both, it gives him a good way of using misdirection on any of his enemies, including Bakugo.
Right. And then it's also like the piercing shot can be very deadly if Bakugo focuses himself right. He seems to have very good coordination and all that. So if he can maybe find a moment where Todoroki is a bit off guard and use the piercing shot, like just focusing it into a single point that's very concrete, very solid, and all that, he could maybe like cause something really hurtful on Todoroki because like it balancing the fire and ice sides, I think that could definitely be very useful in mostly long range and mid range. But if Bakugo can, um, even if it's like something like a piercing shot at close range, it could still be very effective if he has the right coordination. Because like BG, their stats are very similar. Is there like anything? I think Todoroki has a bit more cooperativeness, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken. Or...
yeah, yes. Both of their stats are A in power, B in speed, A in technique, and B in intelligence. The only differing stat is Todoroki has a C in cooperativeness, and Bakugo has an E.
Yeah, big difference. But I mean, it's a 1v1. So yeah, that's kind of just, I guess, the piercing shot versus bouncing both sides. And bouncing both sides has a lot of potential to it, but I think piercing shot could be a lot more deadly considering Bakugo is much more of an offensive fighter, and Todoroki is does, I guess, have more defense options, but Bakugo has been shown to kind of get around it, so to speak.
I see. I think that's very true. But uh, I see we've been going on for a bit here. So those are our points. I'd like you to tell us what you think down in the comments below. And any last words for you, Ninja?
Just yeah, nah. Thanks for having me on, VG. Thanks everyone for watching. Who do you think would win between Todoroki and Bakugo? This is a very interesting debate. Cause like when I was looking into it myself, it was actually I thought it would actually like all be Todoroki and BG for a while. I was thinking Todoroki, but then I like thought about it some more, heard different people's viewpoints, and actually came to the conclusion that it would probably be Bakugo. But yeah, no, it's very divided. I'm interested to see what people have to say on this video.
Same here. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out Ninja. I'll put his link in the description below. And we'll see you later.
Peace.